Welcome to Mindful Living Podcast with your host Sana, the podcast where we explore what it means to live intentionally, authentically, and purposefully in today's fast-paced world. Now, in today's episode, we are diving into the world of empowerment, embodiment, and emotional intelligence with a truly remarkable guest, Jen Aks. Now, Jen, listeners, is a leadership and embodiment coach, an educator and creator of the Power of Gesture, a somatics-based methodology that has transformed countless lives. With over 30 years experience in dance, teaching, and coaching, Jen has dedicated her career to helping individuals reconnect with their emotions and unlock their wisdom of their bodies. Her mission? To help us live authentically, confidently, and purposefully. Oh, and wait until you hear about her journey. It's nothing short of inspiring for all of us. So grab your favorite cup of your coffee, tea, or any beverage, and let's redefine what it means to be truly empowered. So, Jen, welcome to the show, and it's an absolute honor having you with us.
Yes. Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Jen, what exactly empowerment means to you, and how has your understanding of it evolved over the years?
Well, thank you so much for asking. And I just appreciate this conversation so much because I think that, for many, many years and for a long time, and even still, we tend to look for external validation to feel a sense of empowerment. It's natural to want people to see you, to feel you, to believe you, to reward you and celebrate you. We want our parents to say, great job. We want our relationships to be loving externally, giving us all of these accolades and feelings, and all of that is beautiful. And that is, that theme kind of goes within relationships, our career, our educational experience. And the truth is, all of that stuff feels really good and it does serve a purpose. However, I feel that true empowerment comes from within. And it's so hard to feel that because we've gotten so disconnected from our power, from the truth of who we are, to even know that we're powerful, So how I see empowerment now, to become and live and feel empowered, is an opportunity for us to remember who we are. We have to realign and remember the power that rests within us, so that when we do that, we then can live empowered from the inside out. And yeah, of course, still loving all of that, praise and title and whatever that is, but we don't need it. That's a bonus. That's like the cherry on top kind of thing. So redefining empowered is really about allowing that external desire to rest and going within. And we'll talk about how I do that, but I have a very specific way of doing it. But that's kind of a summary. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely, Jen. And thank you so much for defining empowerment in such a simple way. And of course, we'll talk about it. So, your methodology, which is the power of gesture, it focuses on connecting the mind and body. How does intentional gestures, how do they play a role here? And how do they help us process emotions and reclaim our confidence?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So I'll start by saying that mindset is a word we're all pretty much familiar with, getting our mind set so that we can enter that room with confidence, so that we can give that presentation with confidence, so that we can feel connected and powerful. Mindset is important. And the piece that is left out of the conversation is body set. So I call my practice, the power of gesture, a body setting practice. So if people can understand it in that frame when they think of mindset, oh, okay, it's body setting. So basically, we tune into the body. We ground in with using our hands. Our hands and our brains are completely connected. There's very specific tissue in the brain that's connected to our hands to help us process our emotions and express ourselves. So it's no coincidence that when we're babies, we're using our hands. We're gesturing all day long to express how we feel because we didn't even have the words when we're that young. And in every culture, to a degree, we are using our hands. It is a natural part of our human experience in expressing ourselves. Unfortunately, in a lot of cultures, we're asked to, sit on our hands, don't take up too much space, all of these things.
Yeah.
I'm the complete opposite in bringing that back, allowing your hands to help you embody, express, and realign with your emotions. So how it works is we embody our feelings, our emotions, our life experiences through hand gestures. And I'll just pause here for a quick second and say that I've been a dance teacher, educator for over 30 plus years, helping people learn in an embodied way. And I have a lot of experience with, empowering people to use their body as a modality to express, to create. There's so much power in that. And there's a lot of times where people aren't so comfortable using their full body. So it was actually during COVID when I was working with people from all over the world. And we were in this square. And I didn't want them to get up and move away from the screen because I wanted them to stay close so I could feel their energy. So I wound up asking them to embody their emotions with their hands so that they could stay close to the camera. I really didn't know that this was going to become the power of gesture, but I found myself I kept saying, there's so much power in gesture. There's so much power in gesture. And we would embody using our hands to embody fear, isolation, worry, joy, freedom, liberation, whatever it was. Connecting all of these gestures together to create an expression without words, creating energy inside of ourselves, something that's not tangible, and making it tangible, making it something we can work with and almost manage in a way. That's how we gain our power back. You asked that question. We gain agency over the energy that's inside of us instead of allowing that fear to just hijack us for the day, for the month, for the year, whatever it is. We now can hold that fear. We can look at that fear. We can move that fear and shift that energy. So we gain power back. Anyhow, so that's where it started during COVID in front of the screen. And one thing led to another. And the transformations that I was witnessing was so profound. And so I started doing a lot of research and off we went. And now we have the power of gesture. But it is a completely transformative practice because movement in and of itself, I think we all know, that can shift energy. And even when we're just using our hands, it's equally as powerful.
So, I completely agree with that. And also, often we talk about IQ. We do talk about EQ or emotional intelligence, but it's mostly not very much associated with both personal and professional growth. So, can you share a practical way someone can begin to master their emotions today?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll start by saying that my practice at the core, really, two huge influences are the research that I've done around kinesthetic and emotional intelligence. Kinesthetic is the wisdom of the body. It is our body. We have so much power in our body. There's so much intelligence. We can use our body to shift and move through difficult times in our life. The body has so much wisdom. Inside of that, too, is emotional intelligence, which is the combination of our emotions and our sensations. When Well, first, also, I want to say that emotional intelligence, what's so great about that is that it doesn't cap out at a certain age. We can enhance our emotional intelligence for the rest of our life. Whereas IQ, you really max out, I think it's in your early or mid 20s, that your IQ is your IQ. And your emotional intelligence is filled with different layers that you can constantly work on and deepen. So there's different layers of emotional intelligence. There's interpersonal, which is it's the knowing of other people's emotions. It's the understanding of other people's emotions. It's the ability to manage teams well, to really navigate through conversations with ease and be able to read a room, and be approachable and understand and have compassion and tremendous empathy. And intrapersonal is your emotions, having the ability to understand and connect and manage your own abilities. And together, the interpersonal and intrapersonal makes up emotional intelligence. And I've studied a lot of Howard Gardner's work and Daniel Goleman's. And Daniel Goleman really specializes in emotional intelligence. And he believes that there are a few different pillars of emotional intelligence. One is that real, that self-awareness. Another is that ability to really read the room, like I talked about, external, and someone who can really socialize well and be in rooms with different people and just kind of have that overall interaction. And I think that how we know if we have that, we all have emotional intelligence. It's just to varying degrees. And so how do we identify it is really about, are you someone who people come to for advice? Do you find that people are, listening to you, wanting to be around you, wanting to be led by you, whether it's your children or your teams at work, so identifying that aspect of emotional intelligence, if you're that kind of person, then you have a heightened awareness around that or a heightened intelligence around that. And then the intrapersonal is about yourself. If you're someone that likes to process and try different modalities and feels like you're in touch with how you're feeling in a regular way, then you have, a heightened intrapersonal intelligence. And so I think, how do we enhance those two? It's about really being open and practicing and doing different modalities like the power of gesture or yoga, mindfulness practices, because we can deepen and work on these things. And they're so important. Sorry, I keep talking, but I'm just going to finish this part. That when we do enhance these parts of ourselves, this emotional intelligence, we definitely create more success in our lives, not just personally, but professionally as well, because we can interact with people on a much deeper level. I'll pause there.
Yeah, I mean that's such an insightful, way you shared. And of course, mindfulness, it's such an important tool or practice to navigate through. And, but when we talk about mindfulness, Jen, people often think or associate it with being slow or maybe being aware about the present circumstances or, surrounding. But in today's world of, hustle culture and quick fixes, short attention span, isn't it more practical to prioritize productivity over presence?
I don't agree with that.
Mhm.
I don't. I think being productive is being present. I think presence is essential to productivity. I believe, in my opinion, that in order to really be productive in life, we have to be connected first, truly connected. And I just don't mean connected to our body walking down the street, but like, where am I today? What is my goal today? What do I want to achieve today? How do I want to show up in the world today? Asking these very important questions about your intentions, your personal intentions. We cannot ask those questions quickly and just move through that in a fast-paced way. We need to take a moment, and it doesn't need to take long. Presence does not require an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Presence can be 3 minutes. It's just about settling your body and feeling into your emotions. Where are you? Honestly, right now. Are you terrified? Are you excited? Are you feeling joyful? Like, what is the energy right here, right now? And when we connect in that way, we can then move from that place. We can move honestly through life in that next hour, in that next day, from an honest, authentic place. And when we know the root of where we are in that moment from an emotional standpoint, if we're not starting off with joy and freedom and excitement, and instead we're starting from angst, okay, that's really good to know. And then there's a way to reach for that better feeling. And that becomes that embodiment practice. The power of gesture literally can take 3 minutes. And here's just a quick example, just using that if you can visualize. So wake up in the morning, you have that body setting moment where hand is on your belly, hand is on your heart, closing your eyes, and you tune into how you're feeling in that moment. If it is angst, okay, let's acknowledge that. Then we embody that with a hand gesture. What does anxiety look like with our hands? We do that. Then we identify, where do we want to shift that energy into? Where do we want to move it? So, okay, I want to feel lighter. I want to have expansion in my body around this anxiety. So then you embody that. So now you've got 2 gestures and you move from one to the other. This practice takes 5 minutes or less. But to answer your question, if we don't start the day or in the middle of the day or before we go to sleep, then we're giving ourselves, we're not serving ourselves in the most empowered way. We're not giving ourselves an opportunity to really step into the level of empowerment that I focus on. Because otherwise we're just moving quickly and we're doing the thing and we're checking off the boxes. And I just believe so wholeheartedly that our success, true success, starts from within.
So, inside out. So, Jen, also, um, you have shared a deeply personal story about turning down an opportunity because of self-doubt. Um, could you share that with us, and how did that moment shape your journey to becoming an empowerment coach?
Yeah. So, well, I'll just take you back real quick to when I was about 10 years old in a classroom, feeling completely unseen and not connected to the material that was being presented. When I was in school growing up, everything was associated to the standardized tests that are given here. Intelligence was measured by how well you did on those tests. I didn't do well on those tests. I didn't really connect to the linear, traditional way a classroom was set up or the information was presented. I did fine, but I didn't thrive. So I created a story about myself that I was not smart. And for about 2 decades, I lived with debilitating self-doubt that prevented me from really living fully, really experiencing a lot. I turned down a lot of opportunities, and I just wasn't engaged and connected in the way that I wanted to be. In my late 20s, this is the moment that you raise, I was invited to a dinner with John F. Kennedy Jr., who was the son of our former vice president many years ago. And this invitation was not this big group invitation. It was an invitation with me and my boyfriend at the time and him and his wife. And I found it to be overwhelmingly intimidating. And I completely froze and my body shut down and my head was hot and I was just completely and utterly disassociated with my body, out of my body completely. And I turned down the invitation, and it was that night that I just found myself really curled up in a ball, just completely disappointed in myself for allowing society to define me before I defined myself. And it was in that moment where I just felt a really large presence surround me and basically say, when is it enough? How long are you going to let society define you? And I had this, just remember just feeling like this was just a huge and very important question and moment and turning point. And it was a choice that I had to make to really lean into this or continue living the way I was. And that was not an option because that just did not feel good. So I stood up and I started the work. And soon into my healing journey, I found the work of Howard Gardner, who has written many books and teaches at Harvard University. And he teaches the multiple forms of intelligence. And it was the most unbelievable and emotional moment for me to actually learn that there are multiple forms of intelligence. And I, was very upset at first just because I had never known. And then I quickly turned that narrative around and knew that I needed to become empowered with this information and I needed to help others because I knew that other people would feel the same. I knew there were others out there that had the similar experience to me. So I armed myself and dove into this research. And as a dancer, I've been a dancer my entire life and someone who's completely connected to the body and movement. I was very fortunate because learning about kinesthetic intelligence and emotional intelligence just felt so right to me. There are 7 others, by the way, 7 other forms of intelligence that Howard Gardner studies, but these were the focuses that I really leaned into. And because of my body and because of what my body allowed me to do up to that point, I knew there was so much truth in the research because I lived it. I just didn't connect the dots. I didn't know. So this information empowered me like beyond. My entire life changed. I wound up teaching, mentoring, directing, and training teachers around the country with a methodology that empowers people to learn through the body. And that was a huge healing journey for me because it was exactly what I needed when I was younger. It just wasn't available. So I really held every child. I mean, there are thousands of children I've worked with and hundreds of teachers. And I just held every human in my hands, to say, like, I see you and you're smart and I'm going to teach you this curriculum through the body. And it was pretty phenomenal. So that's like the moment. And then how I started my journey of healing, empowering people, and then that led into leadership coaching.
Wow, what a journey, Jen. What a journey. First of all, it's astonishing to know there are 7 other forms of intelligence apart from what usually we have been taught. The definition itself is so uh, uh, thrown at us. It's just your academic performance, it's just your IQ, it's just what kind of job and job role you have, promotions, and how much money you're earning. Everything is associated with your intelligence.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there's nothing else. And secondly, it requires a lot of courage and empowerment to be vulnerable and sharing your weakest moments to your journey of growth, healing. So thank you so much, Jen. Really appreciate what you're doing, and thank you so much for sharing this with all of us today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I have a form, not a form, like a, what do you call it? Like a brochure kind of thing. And I've taken the research and I've really created something digestible for people where I list out all of the forms of intelligence. And I'm happy to share that with you, and you can put it in your show notes. And it's a link, and people can download it. It's very easy to read and connect with, and it's beautiful to look at because people will say, oh, that's an intelligence, oh my gosh, I'm that, and people start to feel empowered by that.
Yeah, Right, that's right. And also, Jen, so for someone who's listening to this episode, or someone they know they are stuck in a cycle of self-doubt or disconnection, what would be the first step they should take to move toward authentic empowerment?
It's a really great question. I think the first thing that I always encourage people to do, we have to go in first. We have to go into our body. We need to start listening. And that is scary. It seems like a simple thing. Hand on your heart, hand on your belly, close your eyes, right? Breathe into your hands, really feel your feelings. That may not seem difficult, but it actually is, because our emotions are our truth. And a lot of times people are afraid of their truth. And I get it, because I've been there too. And when we wrap our head around the fact that our emotions are our greatest teachers and guides, and we start to reframe our feelings, then we can start to do the work. So I would say to the listeners to hear what I just said about our emotions, that they are intelligent, they are wise, they are our teachers, they are here to guide us. Don't be afraid. So the mindset around that, really reframing that. And then once someone feels comfortable with that, okay, I'm ready, then I would sit quietly, placing one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, and closing your eyes and just scanning your body to feel your sensations, to feel your heart racing or your belly flipping, or, the feeling of ants crawling, on your feet, or whatever it is, or an emotional feeling. The way to tap into that too, just something that I'll offer, is music is a big part of my practice. Always music is integrated. I find it is a real gateway to the soul. So putting on a piece of music that inspires and moves you, and I find often a lot of that is instrumental for me because I don't want to get distracted by the lyrics. So putting on the music, closing your eyes, placing your hands, and doing that body set. That's a beautiful first place to start. The other thing I would offer is to start journaling. Just journal about how you feel. It doesn't have to be this big thing, but wake up in the morning and start noticing how you feel. How am I feeling right now? Write it down. In the afternoon, how am I feeling right now? Write it down. Write the time, write the emotion. Just start tracking and noticing, and knowing that you don't have to do anything with it. If you notice that, oh my gosh, I have to make this big choice in my life and I'm not ready to, and I know I need to, don't worry about it. It's just the noticing is really the first step. So those are some thoughts.
Lovely, lovely. Noticing is the first step. Indeed. And Jen, thank you so much for sharing your insights. And of course, if our listeners would wish to connect with you, how they can do that.
Oh, yeah. So my website is www.jenaks.com. It's my name. And then I'm on Instagram a lot. So it's Jen_Aks. So I'm there. And my email is jen@jenaks.com.
Okay. We'll have all the details in the show notes for our listeners to connect with you, Jen. And thank you so much for this absolutely, authentic, purposeful conversation, empowering ourselves. And, I think it's really, really, you have helped us truly redefine what it means to be empowered and embodied. So thank you for sharing your wisdom and showing us how to reconnect with our emotions, trust our bodies, and live authentically.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
And to all our listeners, I would like to add that empowerment doesn't come from chasing external validation. As Jen said, it starts with looking inside out, inward, and honoring your unique journey. And if you are ready to take the first step, check out Jen's work and explore the power of gesture. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs a little inspiration today. Until next time, stay mindful. stay authentic, and keep redefining what it means to live fully. Thank you.